Welcome. I'm here with Angela Scott. She's the COO and co-founder of TC BioPharm. Angela, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Very well, thank you. My pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Can you give us a brief overview of TC BioPharm's mission and upcoming goals to get us started here?
Yeah, sure. Our At TC BioPharm, we're developing safer, efficacious, and cost-effective cell therapy products which we can target to more cancers and infectious disease and save more lives. Our goal really is to enable access to affordable, clinically efficacious cell therapies to improve patients' quality of life in the cancer space.
Terrific. Okay, and from TC BioPharm's home website, you can see that you have extensive experience in working with cell therapies and clinical trials. You were also part of the team that had cloned Dolly the sheep, and you had contributed to the first in-man treatment of stroke. So can you talk a little bit more about the details regarding your background and what led you to where you are right now?
Sure. I've got about 4 decades of experience in oncology, research and regenerative medicine. So I began at the Western General Hospital in Edinburgh with the Imperial Cancer Research Fund at the very young age of 18, where very naively I had a vision to cure cancer. So working on many of the chemotherapy drugs, some of which are still being used today, it quickly became evident that the cancer presents itself in 1,000 different forms, right? And due to the severe toxicities on healthy tissue, I realised that chemotherapies and radiotherapy alone were not going to be the solution. But at that time, I didn't really know what was going to be the solution. So 10 years on, I moved to PPL Therapeutics. I'm responsible for the derivation and characterisation of primary fetal and adult cells used in nuclear transfer programs based in Edinburgh. And that's where my work culturing cells for their in-house nuclear transfer program was used to produce the world's first cloned sheep, Dolly. I then moved to specialising in the provision of process development and manufacturing for the production of pharmaceuticals, and that included the phase 1 and 2 clinical trials for the treatment of stroke here in Glasgow, and also working on several other therapies such as meniscal repair and hair replacement. So these programs were all really interesting, but really in doing this, I learned that there wasn't a quick way of getting these cell therapies to the clinic, and I knew that there was a gap. And so that's really what lay behind my intention with the company at TCB to expedite these clinical processes.
Wonderful. Now, of course, Angela, you're also a co-founder of TC BioPharm, as mentioned in the intro. What led you to co-found this company? What did you notice that needed to be fulfilled that TC BioPharm is currently addressing and working on?
Yeah, so like I said, having taken, to contract manufacturing, and I had taken almost 6 cell therapies to the clinic, there was a glaring gap in the derivation of cell therapies and actually expediting them into the clinic. So, for example, the cell therapy treatment you mentioned before on stroke took about 14 to 16 years to get into the clinic. And I knew really that we had to do something to make that far more efficient. So now I've set up a company that provides an alternative where we manufacture products with no side effects and that uses the body's own immune system to attack cancer in a very safe manner. And actually, we did all of that in a very expedited manner. So we built facilities, good GMP manufacturing facilities, and we expedited clinical trials within 12 months of setting up, which is unprecedented in the sector.
Amazing. Okay, can you explain a little bit more about your role as COO? What do the daily responsibilities look like there?
Well, I was setting up the company. My role was really varied. So from day to day, I could be in the manufacturing facility, gowning up and making product in a bunny suit and so on, and performing process runs. But equally, I could be doing HR activities or speaking to investors or looking at CAD drawings for a GMP manufacturing build. But as the company grew to over 100 staff at that time, I now play a more strategic role and oversee development, manufacture, facilities and clinical.
Got it. Now, based on your experiences, which are certainly extensive in the healthcare, the R&D, the cell therapy sectors, you are a strong leader for TC BioPharm. There are other female executives at the company as well. And is gender diversity something that TC BioPharm celebrates?
Yeah, we fully celebrate and support gender diversity at TCB. Equitable or fair representation of people of different genders within our organisation is important. And in 2021, a report by JP Morgan, which is the private bank, ranked TC BioPharm as fifth for female-powered companies in the United Kingdom. And in the main, some lead disciplines at TC BioPharm are actually headed up by incredible women such as Dorothy Lister, who's our Senior Director of Operations, and Catherine Campbell, who's our Head of Quality, who've all grown in their careers just as TCB has.
Got it. And then what are some female-driven initiatives happening at TC BioPharm right now?
So right now, I'm a member of the task force on women-led high-growth enterprise, which has been conveyed by the Foreign Secretary and Minister for Women and Equalities, the Right Honourable Liz Truss. And I hope to support the initiative in encouraging more UK women to become entrepreneurs using their skills and insight and creativity that they possess to actually build more companies. And the aim really is just to ensure that the same opportunities are given to women as they are to men in the same space, and that we can scale up that process.
Got it. And then any other exciting news as we close out here on the roadmap for TC BioPharm that you are contributing to that you'd want to speak about specifically and that investors should be paying attention to over the next 6 months?
Absolutely. We've now started a phase 2 clinical into phase 3 trial. It's very exciting. It's in the treatment of acute myeloid leukemia. We know that this has shown safety and disease modification in a phase 1/2 trial, and we're now able to treat patients earlier in the disease progression who have just been diagnosed with AML and have failed induction therapy. So that's a very exciting programme for the company, and it's all steam ahead for that.
Wonderful. Well, great to hear. We certainly look forward to seeing what comes next. Angela Scott, COO and co-founder of TC BioPharm, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.